Good afternoon, everybody, or a belated good afternoon. Apologies for the slight delay in getting started to today's session. The gremlins were out and everything stopped working. I don't know why. Everything worked until I clicked go live and then everything decided to turn off. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the M Word. My name's Robin. I'm the Technical Director at Man and Machine here in the UK. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you with me this afternoon for the M Word sessions. For those of you that haven't seen these sessions before, we air them every Thursday or most Thursdays at 2 p.m. And the idea here is to share a workflow inside of one of the Autodesk tools that we sell, support and service here at Man and Machine. Some days it's something on the design and make side like Inventor or Fusion. Other days it's something on the construction side like Revit or Forma. And today, we're going to be looking at Autodesk Revit and sharing a workflow that I think is quite underused. So we're going to show how we can make use of the color fill functionality, but using MEP properties inside of Revit, just to show you how we could use that to help inform some design decisions or flag an area of concern or something like that. So make of it what you will, but hopefully it's something that you find particularly useful. If you haven't already, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. More importantly, from me, give us some feedback. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you want to see. If there's a specific workflow inside of Revit or inside of Inventor that you're really struggling with, and that you want us to work through with you live on YouTube on a Thursday, then please just let us know. Also check out the other videos that we have on the channel, and we have a whole range of different lengths of demonstration, how to, tip and trick for all of the Autodesk portfolio. So check them out and let us know what you like. So without further ado, let me just shrink myself down into the corner. Again, I don't know why that doesn't work, because you won't believe me, because every week this doesn't work. But I promise you, before I went live, I checked the button box, I checked everything in the setup, and it worked perfectly. Everything crashed. Now it doesn't work. I'll try that again. I'm going to shrink myself smaller. Don't know now if I'm more confused or less confused, but hey, that worked. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to go off camera for a second. My hay fever this week has been atrocious. So let me just get a tissue out. You won't want to see this on the camera. So I'll take the camera off. There we go. And we shall put myself back on. Cool. So I didn't have time to install Revit 26. Revit 26 is out now. So go and check it out. A whole range of new features in there. Really, really cool stuff. Keep an eye out on our blogs on our website, manandmachine.co.uk. And on our YouTube channel, because we've got some What's New videos and What's New blogs coming ever so soon. But I'm in 25. This functionality, and it feels like I say this every week, I probably do. This functionality that I'm about to show will work in pretty much any version of Revit. Certainly the ones that I've used for the past 21 years will support this kind of workflow. So doesn't matter what you're using, you should be able to follow along should you want to. And I'm going to start a project from scratch. Again, I want to make sure this is really clear and that it's really appreciated or understood how to go through this process. So I'm going to start a file from scratch, and I'm just going to use a default template. It doesn't matter which one. I'll use a mechanical template, I think, or maybe no, just the construction template. I'll use a default construction template and press OK. And then what we're going to do inside of Revit is we're going to create a couple of basic rooms, and we're going to create spaces within those rooms. So I'm going to pull up some notes below me here. So inside of Revit, just go ahead and grab your wall tool. If you're already in an existing model, just use the geometry that you already have. But what I want to do first of all is just draw some base geometry. I really don't care about the size that I'm drawing here. So just go ahead and do whatever it is that you need to do from a size perspective and draw some external walls. From there, I'm going to switch to an internal wall type and just draw just a few internal rooms. Again, it really doesn't matter for the purpose of this example how big or small these are. it's really not going to affect what it is that we're doing. But I do want to have just a few different rooms, ideally of a few different sizes. Something along these lines is absolutely fine. My inner designer is screaming at me, so I'm just going to align those just so that's nice and square, because my brain didn't like that. And then from there, let's just add a couple of windows just so that we've got some light, natural light coming into this design. I'm not doing this for any reason other than making it look a little bit nicer than it does out of the box. Something like that. So we place some basic windows around our model. Let's just make sure they're all facing the right way around. That would help. And we're also going to place some doors. So I'm just using all the default ones that come preloaded in this template. I'm really not fussed about anything specific. I just want to make sure that I've got something for you that looks semi-reasonable, let's say. So let's go like that and like that. Good. So there is my, my base design. I'm going to add a floor, highlighting my external wall and pressing Tab to chain select and press the tick just to create a floor. And then let's also put a ceiling on as well. So let's go to my level 0 ceiling plan and just go ahead and click in each one of the rooms to go ahead and create a ceiling. And I'm just going to validate it's created those in 3D, which it has, which is great. So from there, maybe in the 3D space, I'm just going to go ahead and turn on my section box. I'm just going to cut through so it's looking into those rooms, just because I might use that shortly, and have something that looks like that. Just want it to come a tiny little bit higher. I want it literally just below my ceiling. There we go. So there's my basic model. So whether you've followed me or whether you've opened an existing model, we're at the point where I want to add some lights. So what we're going to do is inside of our closed room, we want to define this as a space. Now, in Revit, we have two types of spaces. We have a room, which is an architectural element. That looks at, yes, the area and the volume of the room, but it's just an architectural element. It's like there is a room there and it thinks about the finished faces and the surface of them. But also we have an MEP space, which is, I guess, more important from a building information modeling perspective, and it has more specific attributes. So the attributes that you have on a space, so for things like the lux levels, the power requirements for that space, the heating and cooling requirements for that space. So if you go under Analyze on the ribbon, we have this space tool. It works exactly the same as the room tool. So we can draw rooms and room separators, and we can draw spaces and have a space separator line. So we're going to go ahead and choose space, and we're going to click all of our enclosed spaces. Just like when you've got a room, if you've got a tag loaded by default, it will tag them and it will number them, so on and so forth. I'm really not fussed about that today, but I can see by hovering my mouse over my rooms and moving it around, or hover over your wall and cycle with tab, you can find and select the spaces that exist within your model. And if I just scroll the parameters against that space instance, you can see that there's a whole range of different properties against that space. And when you compare that to a room, so maybe let's just place an architectural room over here, just because I can. That room has constraints, dimensions, and identity data, as well as some phasing stuff. Whereas the space has constraints, it has lighting information, electrical loads, dimensions, mechanical flow, and then your energy analysis. There's so much more metadata associated with a space because it's a mechanical space. And we can tap into that. So I've got my spaces in my model. And just for argument's sake, I'm also going to choose to tag my spaces. In this particular template, I don't have a space tag loaded. So I'm going to say, yes, I'd like to load one. I'm going to use my metric library go into annotations, go into tags, and I'm going to go ahead and find my space tag. Do I have a space tag? Not in there. Really frustrates me when they're not where you would expect them to be. And a mechanical zone tag, space tag. There we go. So mechanical and space tag. And then from here, I'm just going to go ahead and tag them just to give you visualizations of those spaces, names and numbers. It will help. And again, remember that these can all be renamed. So I could say that this is Office 1. I could say that this is Office 2. I could say that this is Office 3. And maybe this is going to be Training Room 1. This is going to be the Training Room Breakout. This is going to be the kitchen. And this is going to be the circulation space. So we've got these rooms or spaces, set up, and we are now going to leverage them. So inside of here, as I've said, these spaces have all got properties. And in Revit, we can color fill these kind of elements on our view. So if you're an architect, you will be very used to coloring your rooms per their area or per their name or per their number, so on and so forth. But for spaces, we can do the same thing. So deselect everything just by clicking in blank space, and then scroll down in the view properties until you find color scheme. So color scheme is set to none currently. We're going to click where it says none, and that's going to allow us to choose and edit the color scheme that's being used by this view. And you can see that we can pick up on HVAC, zones, rooms, and spaces. So I'm going to say that I want to color based on my spaces. We can come in here and we've got different schemas. So I'm going to say I don't want to have one, or I want to use schema 1. So I can come in and say use schema 1. We can create as many of these as necessary in a template, for example. So I'm going to copy schema 1, and I'm going to call it color by Lux, for example. And then in here, with it selected, I can give this a title. So I can say Lux Levels. And then for the color, you're choosing which property you want to color by. So by default, it's going to say I'll color them individually by their name. But if you use that drop down, you can see a load of other values or attributes that you can link and color by. And if you have a look through here, you've got average estimated illumination, which is the one that we're going to use. But you've got lighting and power lows, you've got supply and return airflow, you've got a load of options here. And the reason we have them is because the space is that much more powerful. It has that much more metadata on there that we can tap into them. So I'm going to pick average estimated illumination. It's going to come in and it's going to say, well, actually, you don't have any in your model. You've got no lights. There's no illumination set in any of these spaces. So it's just warning me that it doesn't have anything to work off. If you had a load of lights already created, this would have gone in and created, let's say, a default list of color for you, but it would only be based on the spaces and the illumination levels that you have. What I want to do is I want to create my own values that link to things that I'm concerned about. Now, I'm going to put my hand up and say I'm not a mechanical engineer. I am a self-confessed geek. I am background of IT, self-trained on a lot of this stuff, but I've used it for a long time. So I've been in the Autodesk channel for 21 years, using all of the tools from AutoCAD to Revit to Inventor to Vault to the Construction Cloud. Pretty much if it's got an Autodesk brand or logo, I have used it and I'm certified in it. So you're in safe hands, but I'm not a mechanical engineer. So some of the figures I'm going to type in here, you might look at these and giggle or chuckle, but this functionality is really good because you can come in and you can customize it to suit your requirements or your organization's requirements. So take my values as a pinch of salt, with a pinch of salt, but use this workflow to your benefit. Whether you're using this for flow rates for your air, whether you're using this for your return rates, whether you're using it for your heating and cooling, it doesn't matter. The workflow is really, really nice. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to say that I want to use the scheme based on a range. And that allows me to say between this and this, make it this color. Between this and this, make it this color. And I'm just going to go ahead and set up 3, just because it makes my life really easy. So I'm going to say that if it is between 0 and 20 lux, then I want to color it with a color. And the color I want it to be is red. If it's between 20 and, just add another one here at 50. If it's between 20 and 50, then I want to go ahead and color it in orange. And if it is anything above 50, I want to go ahead and color it in green. Again, take my values as nothing. They really don't matter for this example. What does matter is the fact that you can type in here whatever you want to type in and just fill your boots. You just add additional rows that define what the less than value will be. I'm going to press apply and I'm going to press OK. And instantly my entire model highlights in red. Why? Well, because I've got no lights. There's no lights defined in my rooms and in my spaces. Therefore, it's not picking up on any lux levels. It's not going to take the windows into account. This is only from photometric lights inside of Revit. But you can instantly see what this is doing, which is actually pretty cool. From there, I'm going to head onto a reflected ceiling plan. And let's just tile my windows with WT on my keyboard. And then I'm going to place a light. So I'm going to go to my Systems tab. I'm going to go over to my electrical panel and I'm going to click Lighting Fixture. None loaded again inside of this template. So yes, I would like to load one from my library. And from here, I'm just going to go back into my main library and I'm going to go to Electrical. I'm going to go to MEP. I'm going to go, no, not Electrical, it's under Lighting, sorry. I'm going to go to Lighting. I'm going to say MEP. It's an internal light and I'm going to pick up on a ceiling linear box. Doesn't matter which one. As long as it's got properties and photometrics assigned to it, this will work. So I can pick up my light and I can press open to load that into my project. From there, this is going to default to place on a face. I want to place this on a vertical face so I can place it on my ceiling. And from there, I'm going to place one inside of this room. You can see instantly upon placing that light, my color scheme on the right-hand side has gone green because that's instantly gone above the lux levels that I have defined for my color scheme. The reason it does that is because by placing the light within this space, it has gone ahead and calculated some rough information based on what I want it to do. And it's estimating that with this light in this room, it's averaging at 100 lux. I'm going to go back onto my color scheme in this view. I'm going to edit my color scheme and I'm just going to tweak it. So I'm going to say, actually this time, if it is less than 50, I want it to be red. And then if it's between 50 and 150, I want it to be orange. And then if it is 200 or more, I want it to be green. So less than 50 is red, 50 to 100 is maybe also red, 100 to 200, sorry, 50 to 100, I want it to be orange, sorry, my mistake. I want that to be orange. 100 to 200, I want it to be green. No, that's not what I want. 50, that's orange. Oh, there we go. So we're going to set that up like so, press OK, and there we go. We have our orange area. So it's purely based on placing components in the room. If I add a second light in this room, that room will turn green. And I can then go in and start adding lights into my design. And instantly this view on the right-hand side will update based on what I've added. And very quickly, you can get that visual feedback rather than having to go in and, oh, I'm just going to do a schedule on my spaces to see what the value is. Or I'm going to come in and select my space to see what the value is. I can get instant visual feedback on that space, no matter what the property, and really understand whether I need to do some more thinking or do some more designing in that space. Because within my training room, kitchen and circulation, it's a bit dark. So I could come in and say, okay, well, I want to use another one of those lights to place it in here. Or maybe place a different light of another sort in one of the other rooms. For this, I'm just going to place another 2 lights in this area to light up the whole design. But again, this is live. So if you come in here and delete a light, if you change the light for a different type, which gives off more or less illumination, then your view will update. This isn't simulating it, it's just using the properties. The light knows how much lux it gives off. Based on that, the space estimates the lux level based on the lights that are placed. And again, you can do this for any mechanical or MEP based property, and it gives you this live feedback. I can then annotate that by saying this view, annotate, using a color fill legend, and place that down on my model. That will then go all the way across onto a sheet should I place down this floor plan onto that sheet. Again, if you're really wanting to go to town, you could then have a schedule that's pulling the individual lux levels per room. So let's say view, let's say schedules, pick up a schedule based on my analytical space. And in there, I want to have estimated lighting, which I need to do, average estimated illumination, and we're going to do that alongside the name and the number of the space, space name, space number, click OK. And then we're also going to drag that schedule across onto our sheet like so. So really quickly inside of Revit, we can come in and create views that work really well to be able to visualize and further detail what's going on in our design. If you set these up as part of a view template within your Revit template file, this allows you to get feedback on the model when you're going through and making your design changes. Whilst I've used pretty rough, inaccurate figures today, to do that with your knowledge about your company, your industry, your skill set, you will really get some great results initially on that average estimated calculation from Revit that you can use to really do a good job in planning initial concept all the way through to detailed design. And really, that's all I wanted to show as part of today's session. So I hope that's been really useful. If you've enjoyed it, give us a like. Subscribe to our channel so that you can see when we go live every Thursday, and then we put new content up, which happens most weeks. Thank you ever so much for joining. We won't be on next week because I have a well-earned break with the kids over the Easter holidays. So we will be back the week after, where we're going to do a manufacturing, design and manufacturing example, which off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is, but it will be cool because it's making stuff out of metal. It's not making stuff out of metal, but it's something manufacturing. But join us then. Take care in the meantime. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.